All right, we got a really crazy story. Check this out. Black Harvard students held at gunpoint by campus college. Really? Yeah. 4 black Harvard students held at gunpoint over a prank, supposedly. Well, we're going to find out more about this. Well, I hope it was Dr. Rashad, but we got Shannon on here. So, well, certain days you just got to take the crop at the pick. Anyway, let's go.
Frank, a swatting incident at Harvard University led to 4 black students. Best and the brightest. Happens to all of us. Held at gunpoint by campus police. It all resulted from a hoax 911 call.
Wow.
Early Monday morning, 4 Harvard University students were sleeping in their undergraduate suite, trying to get as much rest as possible before the new school week began. Yep. But at around 4 a.m., they were awoken by noises banging on their suite door, commands for them to open it. They did, which is when they were confronted by 5 Harvard University police officers in riot gear
and assault rifles.
Wow. They were then instructed by the officers to raise their hands, exit through their rooms, and enter a nearby suite.
Whoa.
All while officers pointed assault rifles directly in their faces.
Assault rifle in the face?
That, according to the Harvard
What the
newspaper.
fuck?
The victims of the hoax? Harvard seniors Jared K., Cotton, Jasmine and Dunlap, David G. Madzivanyika, and Alexandra Renee. An officer later explained to the students that a false report was filed to the Harvard University Police Department. It led to them believing there was a threat in the building, hence the riot gear and assault rifles. According to the Harvard Crimson,
I don't buy that. That's fucking
both
bullshit.
received a call from the police a half an hour before the raid, but they understandably did not answer since they were in the middle of a good REM sleep. The Harvard University police spokesperson, Stephen Catalano, said this in an interview. Threatening violence against occupants. The officers searched the Levitt House suite with negative results for an individual with a firearm or any persons acting in a suspicious manner. He said that to explain why Harvard University police were dispatched to the building.
With riot gear?
Again, this was a hoax.
Guns?
A false report.
Pointing at these kids' faces?
More.
Students' faces? Okay.
We were all extremely scared. This is the students, particularly because my roommates and I are black students, said Jared Cotton, who have been bombarded our whole lives with stories and images portraying how situations such as this ended up terribly.
Of course, yeah.
We felt our lives were in danger. We are traumatized, Cotton said. She was disappointed also by the lack of university-wide response or acknowledgement. Being accosted in your place of residence warrants a university-wide response. Warrants the president's attention. Warrants the dean of students' attention.
Warrants an email at the very least.
Reportedly, the FBI is working with Harvard police to find the suspect in this latest swatting hoax. There is so much, Yasmin, to unpack here. They were in danger. Their lives were in danger.
Of course. Of course they were in danger. Yeah, of course their lives are in danger. Being exiled out of the room with their hands up, with a rifle pointed at the face, itchy trigger. Cops probably would just wishing to pull the trigger to execute these students for a stupid fucking prank. Yeah. Okay.
Holding assault rifles in the face of black people is a heightened, and it should be a heightened awareness.
Fuck yeah,
the person who's on the other end of it.
Blasphemy.
Your reaction to the university president's statement, because I think Miss Cotton's right. I don't know why he wouldn't step before the cameras and command the attention of all of Harvard about this incident.
Yeah, I would think that he would care about the reputation of the university, and obviously it's a very reputable university in the United States. It's the oldest university in the United States, and it has a lot to live up to. As far as giving them the benefit of the doubt, as far as catching the person who did the swatting and taking this very seriously, I'm not a criminal investigator or anything like that, but I would imagine it's very difficult to do that. But that said, we have seen incidents of just simple 911 calls that have gone sideways, not even swatting, just regular 911 calls that have gone awry because the dispatcher or the cop who took the call at their word, took the caller at their word.
Well, especially you got people that make anonymous 911 calls, or tipsters, or people that over exaggerate on the 911, like something as simple as a mundane or suspicious person. And we get people that call 911, say they got a gun, they're a threat, they're stalking, harassing children, they're raping children, all that shit. Or what about the one, top of my head, about, what was it? I think it was last year, about a hotel clerk calling 911, saying a guy from another country in like Iran or Iraq, saying he was dressed for another country like Egypt, like that. So saying, oh, he looks like a terrorist. He's practicing his love and for ISIS, hate in America. Whoa, that was a bunch of bullshit. Or what about slow counting transparency? The guy that was simply doing a First Amendment audit, and the bitch that called him 911 say he had a gun and was stalking, harassing, and trying to groom children across the street at a school. Yeah.
In situations where they probably could have asked a few more questions. In this case, they tried to call the girls before they swatted them, but they were asleep because it was the middle of the night. Incidents like this one are obviously very disruptive and traumatizing for the victim, but they're also incredibly costly, right? It's a lot of resources and a lot of money. So you would think you can't expect them to care about...
Yeah, especially costly calls like this. Sometimes what is very costly, like costing taxpayers at least, or at the worst, cost somebody's their life.
Trauma to victims, because we know that they don't actually care about things like that, but they do care about money, and you would think that would be more of
money. So about the ching,
as far as them getting to the bottom of things like this.
Yeah, it's incredibly disturbing, and I'm not even sure. Listen, I'm not a trained police officer, but I don't know if there's a real threat if I'd be knocking. I don't know if I'd be knocking. I'm glad they did in this case, and that the students were aroused enough and awake enough. Okay, try waking me up at 4 a.m. and who knows what, I might just get up swinging. Okay, you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So this could have been a whole lot worse.
I always say it depends how you wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Harvard, what are you going to do about this? And another reason I think that the president should have stood before cameras, every student everywhere should have been within earshot somehow, and let them know that this will be the first and the last, because when we get you, there won't be another. You're done. Okay?
Done.
Whoever did this,
you're
done. And overreaction,
terminate, also vista.
I don't know. What do you think?
Kick rocks.
No, I think it's a very serious thing, and something like swatting, it can ruin lives. It can really, really be very disruptive to people's lives, to the victims. I mean, just the trauma of it alone, having a SWAT team show up to your door, especially in the middle of the night, you're discombobulated, you don't know what's going on, it's very, very scary. And anything can happen. And in those very high stress situations, things can happen very badly, in a deadly way sometimes, unfortunately. And I hate that this had to happen on the Harvard campus. It's always disappointing whenever really educated people are so stupid and so ignorant. But, even with an Ivy League education, sometimes, you can't erase the way that you've been raised. So I don't know who did the swatting. I don't know what the motive was behind it, but one can imagine. One can imagine. One can speculate.
Yes, we can. Okay. It's an educated guess. I think they call it a hypothesis. Okay.
That is good.
Yeah.
Right? Is that right? Thank you, Yasmin. But I do think that it's important that Miss Cotton, very smart Harvard student, reminded, at least that's how I took it, about what they face every day. Black and brown people, not just students. And I think it was important, as she spoke out about what happened to her and her classmates, that we're already up against so much. And it makes me wonder more about if Harvard is a welcoming enough place, and if they even realize what it takes.
Yeah, just
in this case,
like two main schools you always think about in 80, Harvard and Yale.
But black and brown students feel and are actually safe.
Yeah, and whenever we think about Ivy League education, there's so much stigma that comes with it as far as people paying to get their children admitted into it and all kinds of affirmative action, pushback that you get specifically with Ivy Leagues because they are very elitist, they are very exclusionary, and that's what makes them so elite in a lot of ways and so expensive, right? It takes a lot of work for people who are not, the children of senators or whoever to get into these Ivy League schools, way more than even just, having a high GPA and being involved in all these extracurriculars. You really have to kind of get lucky to a certain extent.
I always say, if you really want a good college, you want a good college schools in the big, like Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC. That's a big conference. People say, you should go SEC or ACC. That's big time. Pac-12 is pretty good. Big 10, Big 12, those are good. Those are great conferences as well. People say, for school-wise, nah, but for sports-wise, yes.
And also just break every barrier that's thrown at you. And once you get there, that's
I know for sport-wise,
such an achievement. You really did earn it.
Gymnastics,
and then these kids, they're living on campus. You don't want them to feel unsafe or unwelcome there. And if these universities and these Ivy League universities don't do something about that culture, I think they're going to suffer. They're going to see drops in enrollment, and I think long term they're going to feel the negative impacts of that.
Yeah, we haven't even discussed where Harvard is located. Okay, it's not the easiest city.
Well, we don't know where Harvard Yale is located.
Player who was drafted there say, I'm not going there. An NBA guy. Maybe somebody will remind
I know where Florida
who that was, but
he
probably wasn't the only one. Okay, I think Bill Russell could talk about. He could have talked about and did eloquently the experiences in the city. So there's so much that's piling up, right? Piling up on top of everything else, and then
Durham.
You are
North Carolina,
supposedly amongst the
Chapel
best
Hill.
And the brightest, and you have competed to get there. And you have to compete to stay there and be recognized and appreciated there.
Like
right?
Texas, hook 'em
now you
on.
have to put up with this.
Austin.
I don't want to be graded on a curve.
Like LSU, Baton
but
Go Tigers!
I don't know how you could perform after that and actually feeling. Because what would have went through my mind, Yasmin, is Breonna Taylor and so many other names.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Good point,
and
Breonna
I think
Taylor.
That's completely reasonable because you can be someone who's literally sleeping in your bed and then something really, really deadly and horrible can happen to you when you haven't done anything. It wouldn't even be a thing that you think that you're waiting for. You haven't done anything.
I just did a story about a couple weeks ago about
any kind of consequence or any kind
a young man
of
asleep in his own bed and he got
and
shot.
I think whenever
because
things
it
like this happen, I always tend to believe that these people are uneducated or they're ignorant or whatever. And so whenever these things happen on college campuses, especially, I'm just like, oh, I feel like you should have known better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should know better. What's a hoax to you could be deadly to me. Mm-hmm. And if that's not your experience and you're unaware of what's going on in the world around you, how I don't know, privilege, then you may not realize that. But it's time to get real.
Yep. Absolutely crazy, yeah. I always sit there saying swatting is never the answer. But you got people around like the UPK and the troopers, the silicone LARPers, silly. Yeah, rubbing each other, bunions. They believe in that shit. Anyways, I'm out here in my job. Peace out. Much prayers, love, respect. Happy Easter, everybody.